So my husband, 33, and I, 24 female, have been married for 5 years. Way before we met when I was a teen, my mom's house had a house fire that burnt literally everything down. And sadly, my childhood cat was also killed in it. I remember my mom and brother waking me up screaming, "Fire, fire, get up, get up." We crawled out under the smoke, and luckily my neighbors had already called the fire department, and they pulled us out. We lost literally everything. We were devastated. So that was a while ago, but it still really scares me. I check outlets, our stove, candles, and everything else all the time. My husband knows this about me. So 2 nights ago, I went to bed early because I'm currently 34 weeks pregnant, literally about to pop. I was sleeping for a while before, for some reason, my husband decided to wake me up by yelling, "Baby, there's a fire! 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 Get up!" As quick as I could get up at 34 weeks, I did, and grabbed my purse. I was just in automatic shock and just autopilot and knew what I needed to grab. I made it downstairs yelling for my husband to follow me before he started laughing and telling me it was a joke. It took a minute for that to process. I stood there with an open mouth while he laughed and ushered me down the rest of the stairs. I sat down on the couch and just started sobbing. It was genuinely the hardest I've ever sobbed. It's like I couldn't get myself to stop and my whole body was shaking. My heart was racing and I couldn't breathe. I had never had this experience before. I was genuinely so panicked. I was so darn upset. My husband apologized and was like, "Oh my God, I'm sorry. It was just a joke." I just cried until he was eventually like, "What the heck? It was just a prank. This is really dramatic." After a few hours, I had calmed myself down and went to apologize to him. He wouldn't take it. He said I was being over-dramatic. It made him feel like crap for a harmless prank. So I guess, am I the idiot? I've never been good at taking jokes. I've been trying to be less sensitive, but I don't know. You went to apologize to him? You? You were in a tragic event and have been mentally preparing for it just in case. That is some PTSD, but a normal reaction. He took advantage of your fear. Not the idiot, but your husband owes you a massive apology. Even if you didn't have serious trauma around fires, this isn't a funny prank to play on anything, especially someone heavily pregnant. What the heck is wrong with your husband? Her husband not only owes her a massive apology, he needs to grow the heck up. That was not a prank. He knew he was causing her pain. He knew her history with fire and chose to use his knowledge to cause her harm for his own entertainment. Sis, how often are you the butt of his jokes? Just once is too many times. More to the point, why are you with him? He has the maturity of a teen. Do you honestly think he's a quality spouse or dad material? Of course she apologized. She was 19 when she started dating a 28-year-old. This is likely the smallest of his abuses. It just hit harder because of pregnancy hormones, coupled with PTSD. She's been in an abusive relationship all along and she still doesn't see it. Hopefully, many internet strangers can get her to open her eyes and get out. Not soon enough, and the kid will keep them in one another's lives, but better out than in. She was 19 when they got married. I bet this dude showed up to her 18th birthday party. There's a reason a 28-year-old married a 19-year-old. No woman his own age would take his crap. Who knows how long they even dated? He might have gone after her when she was underage. OP seriously needs to get away from this guy. Like yesterday. I've been dating Mark for 2 years now, and he moved in with me 4 months ago with his 19-year-old daughter, Lindy. Mark and I split the bills down the middle. Lindy doesn't contribute, though she has a full-time job making $16 an hour. I never had any intentions of making her pay anything, but her eating habits are driving me up the wall. She has a food routine for breakfast, lunch, and snacks. I'm told she has OCD and it's an OCD thing. She has 6 pieces of toast every morning between 6 and 8 a.m., 2 with peanut butter, 2 with butter, and 2 with jelly. By 10 a.m., she makes herself 2 hard-boiled eggs because she's starving. She eats 2 grilled cheeses for lunch around 12 and 12:30. She eats again at 2 before leaving for work, where she has 2 packages of ramen noodles. Her snack? She takes spoonfuls of peanut butter straight from the jar, several times a day. She usually eats dinner at work, but she eats more than Mark and I combined when she's home. When she gets home, she has no less than 2 bowls of cereal, where she fills the milk to the top and then just pours it down the drain after, as in drinks none of the milk and just wastes it. And no, she's not overweight. She's a healthy weight, maybe around 130 pounds, and she's 5 feet 9 inches tall. Now, I'm going through an entire loaf of bread a day. A big jar of peanut butter doesn't last more than 3 days. I'm buying a carton of eggs every 2 days. I'm lucky to make a gallon of milk last a day. Mark and I hardly ever eat bread, peanut butter, or eggs. Maybe once a week at most for sandwiches, and eggs is maybe once a month. Despite Mark and me contributing to food, I'm spending nearly $400 extra a month due to her intake of the items listed above. I told Mark I would no longer be buying these items, and either he or his daughter could. He argued that everything's supposed to be 50-50, what we agreed on. So I told him that his daughter would be buying it herself then, because I'm not buying this stuff anymore, and if it continues to be a problem, she needs to find somewhere else to live. She throws fits if this food isn't stocked in the house. He was angry. He doesn't think his daughter should have to pay for anything, so she has money saved to move out. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. He moved in with his adult daughter, 50-50 or 1/3, because she's an extra adult. She's working. If her father wants her to save, he should be footing her bills. They're not your responsibility. Also, I'm not an expert, but her routine seems highly unhealthy. Wasting food is also a big no for me. If it was only the amount or what she eats, it would be one thing, but wasting food makes it a lot worse. Last but not least, if you live with other people, you should know that eating directly from the jar, double dip, or a drink from the bottle is gross. Yeah, this sounds like an entire eating disorder. 5'9" at 130 is about model weight. Eating that much doesn't add up. There's something wacky going on, or she has the metabolism of a racehorse. It is adorable that he thinks she'll move out. Why on earth would she when she has him waiting on her hand and foot? Right? OP's buying all her food, Dad is filling her gas tank, and she doesn't pay rent. Do you think she's gonna move out? LMAO. OP, this situation will not get any better. Perhaps it's time to kick them both out and move on. Evict them now. There's a reason he moved in. He wants the mooch off of you. So I, 30 female, have a kindergarten-age daughter who is perfectly healthy and happy. She's a normal kid who loves playing and eating snacks now and then. Recently, my brother, 28, had been visiting often. I've noticed he's taking to calling her chubby and fat as some kind of twisted joke. I thought he was just messing around at first, but it's gotten really out of hand. Every time he sees her, he makes comments like, "Whoa, easy there, big girl," or "You can't have another cookie. You end up rolling out of here." It makes my blood boil. I've repeatedly told him to stop, but he always laughs it off like it's just harmless teasing. My daughter doesn't understand that it's supposed to be a joke, and I can see it's hurting her feelings. Finally, after the latest incident in which he shouted, "Looks like someone needs a diet," across the room while she was playing, I snapped. I kicked him out of my house and told him never to come back until he learned some respect. Now my family's divided. My parents say I overreacted and that it was just sibling banter. Some friends are on my side, saying I did the right thing, but my brother's furious and claims I ruined our relationship over a silly joke. So, am I the idiot for kicking him out and telling him he can't come back unless he respects my daughter? Maybe start calling him Baldy or Tiny Idiot, since these things are so hilarious. Not the idiot. You've asked him not to talk to her like that, and he keeps doing it. He's not respecting you or your daughter in your home. This has nothing to do with the rest of your family. He needs to grow up. And it's not a silly joke. This is how young girls get damaged self-esteem, mental health issues, and eating disorders that can kill them or permanently damage their bodies. No kindergartner should have to hear this crap and internalize it into self-hatred. Your brother is harming a child, so no, it's not a silly little joke. He's being emotionally abusive. That is not okay. Your kid is not his punching bag. And quite frankly, he deserved a whole lot worse for being an adult bully to a kid. What a piece of human trash. This isn't about a joke. This is about your brother believing he can comment on other people's bodies. This is about your brother believing that he's somehow superior to other people. This is about his misogyny and blatant lack of respect for women. Unfortunately, your daughter will face lots of people like your brother. It's important that she learn how to deal with this early in life. Good job showing her a great example. Let me start by saying that I'm 26 years old, but I've never in my life felt young. I'm a mom and I have 3 kids, a kindergartner, a young grammar schooler, and a preschooler. I got married when I was 19, and my ex-husband was 29 then. Right after I gave birth to my youngest, we separated and later divorced due to his abuse of me. I was scared it would eventually be my babies too. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, but it was the best thing for them. That was 4 years ago, and since then I've been living pretty decently for myself. My children and I live in a house in my dream city, and I have a wonderful job. I'm a nurse now with a bachelor's degree, and I'm so happy. Happier than I've ever been. I have friends and I've reconnected with my dad, who my children were never allowed to meet. They love him, and my dad teared up when they called him Pop Pop for the first time. Anyway, I recently met this man. Let's call him John. John's 28, very charming, so nice, great job, and was fine with me being a mother, which is very rare for men my age. This was so important to me as my children are the most important things in my life. He has one child who's a pre-tween. We've never met each other's children. We decided to wait 1 year before doing that. We've been going out for about 10 months already. It's getting closer to the time. And the other day, we were talking about what we think about the future and things like that. The topic of marriage and children came up. I told him I was not opposed to getting married again if it made sense, but I didn't want any more children. I explained this because 1, purely the cost. 2, I'm tired of being pregnant. I was basically pregnant for 4 years straight and had high-risk pregnancies all 4 times, 1 resulting in a loss. And 3, my kids are older, and I know it's not uncommon to have siblings 6 to 4 years apart, but I'm done with the baby stage, and I just now feel like we're getting out of it. John was very upset. He told me he imagined having a child with the person he married, even if he does already have one. He said it was important to him. I asked him if in this scenario, it's me. That means we'll have 5 children, and if he was fully prepared for that. He said it's not uncommon, and he was offended that I suggested that. He ended up telling me that basically, not wanting another kid is a deal breaker to him. I said, fine, that really sucks, but I will not be changing my mind. I make decent money as a nurse, but 5 kids are just so much. He ended the conversation by telling me, I don't know why you care about the money so much when your ex pays you child support anyway. He told me that not wanting a kid with him meant that I wasn't that serious in the first place. So am I the idiot for this? Not wanting another kid? Are more kids that important to people who already collectively have 4? Not the idiot. It's easy for him to say he wants another kid. He's not the one who has to go through the pregnancy and all of the risk and difficulties that come with being pregnant. From his attitude, I'm guessing that he also won't be a very hands-on dad, since he's so flippant about the entire situation. Consider this a blessing because you got out before the kids were involved. It sounds like you are an adult, but there's a big sulky baby inside your boyfriend, and the baby started lashing out when he didn't get what he wanted. I'm sorry, but what was a promising relationship is now ending, and rest assured you're better off for it. Never stay with the person whose first reaction to disappointment is to try to hurt you. I'll say more. Never stay with someone who asks you to risk your own life or his own expectations. You've been pregnant 4 times, 4 times at high-risk pregnancy. If that's not a good argument for him, nothing will be. It's one of the biggest red flags I've ever seen. My 29 female twin sister, Maya, has a young toddler son, Lucas. A little backstory. She had a horrible pregnancy right from the first trimester and had to quit her job, since she was spending too much time out of the office. Her ex-boyfriend turned out to be a piece of crap who claimed Maya had cheated on him and pinned the baby on him. When my family insisted on taking a paternity test as soon as the baby was born, he agreed, but went out for some milk before the due date. After Lucas was born, finances became too tricky with the newborn and Maya's postpartum complications. She asked if I could let her stay with me temporarily so she didn't have to pay rent, and I agreed. I also have an extra room in my house, which I inherited from my grandma, so I don't have to worry about rent either. Long story short, it's been tough living with a baby whose mother needs so much more help than one person can provide. Our parents live too far away to be of any help. Anyway, I was okay with waking up half the time to give Lucas his bottle, or staying up with him when she needed some time to herself. I also paid for everything baby-related. Hospital bills for both her and my nephew, food, clothes, and diapers, you name it. But now that both Maya and my nephew are stable enough that she resumed working, she started pushing for more. She expected me to keep paying for everything, but I told her it's harder now that I'm not putting in as many hours and I get paid per hour. Still, she buys nothing, and I end up paying anyway. She also thinks paying for daycare doesn't make sense when I'm home most of the day. I ended up paying for it myself when she wouldn't. I think it's important to add that I refuse to adopt Lucas. Everyone has always known that I'll adopt a child or more in the future, but when Maya asked, I didn't think she'd be willing to stay in her bio son's life as an aunt, and I don't think the confusion would do anyone any good. So on Monday, she asked me to take Lucas to his hospital appointment, and I said no. I told her to take a day off for that, because my job hasn't been doing well lately, as I've been spending too much time taking care of Lucas. She pointed out how this is my nephew, and if I adopt kids, I'll need to make sacrifices too, to which I said, I'll make them when the time comes, but I'm not Lucas's dad, and although I'm happy to help where I can, I shouldn't be expected to change my life for him. Maya took a day off, but since the appointment, she hasn't spoken to me, except with a yes or a no or a mumble when I talk to her, and she's been keeping Lucas in her room when he's not at daycare. I do love the little guy with all my life, and I'm wondering if maybe I took things too far. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Mentioning you have to make sacrifices after how much you've already stepped up reeks of manipulation and entitlement. Yes, she has it hard, but she also must appreciate and respect how much you've helped. And you need the ability to live and move freely, or you'll both sink. She should probably go and move in with mom or dad, but you should discuss responsibilities and finances on a move-out date. Has it been hard? She's living rent-free, with her family paying most of her baby and healthcare expenses, and helping her out regularly. That's more help than a lot of new mothers have when they have a partner. People like this remind me of my sister-in-law, who's always whining about being a struggling single mother when she's actually lived with her doting parents. She went back to work while her mom acted as a 24/7 unpaid nanny, cleaner, and cook. And her parents picked up most of the expenses of having a child: groceries, medical, school expenses, clothes, etc. I think many single mothers do a great job, but let's not pretend that someone supported by parents and/or siblings is worse off than someone supported by a partner. Dude, your sister's taking advantage of you. You need to reclaim your life and house. Sorry to say, your sister's a parasite.